Post.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Kids Post channel. So I am seriously excited because we get even more time with the Baby Guy NYC, aka Jamie Grayson. Hi Jamie. How is it that a gay guy with no kids has become the go-to expert on all things baby?
Well, it's a hot mess of a story. I was an actor and I got out of college. My background is in theater. I worked every summer in college, so I had all these connections. So once I graduated, I went immediately to work. I never had to move to New York and audition like a lot of people. I was very lucky, but that meant I worked for about 3 years nonstop, which is a very good problem to have. I was very happy, but I got very tired of living out of suitcases. So when I got back to New York, I made an effort to just sit in one place. So I was on the train to a temp job, and I turned over a newspaper, and it was an ad for Buy Buy Baby, which is a big box retailer in the States. And it was back when they only had 6 stores, and they basically were hiring actors to demo product. And this was back in 2005. Bugaboo had just hit America because of Sex and the City, and I've never watched it. There are things I don't do well as a gay man, and it's Sex and the City, Barbra Streisand, Madonna, and Dress Myself.
You've never watched an episode?
I've never seen Sex and the City.
God.
I don't care.
Are you the only human in the world?
I can't be bothered with it. I mean, I've seen like clips and I get the idea of it, but I don't care.
Wow, okay.
So all I did 3 days a week was like push this Bugaboo frog around and tell people how it worked. And I got very bored and I felt like I was just shoving a product at people all day. So to have a frame of reference for how this stroller worked compared to others, I just started learning all the strollers on my own. And it was before Up a Baby was out, so it was like, Stoka and Baby Jogger and Bugaboo, and then everything else started to come out because Bugaboo was like the stroller that started the stroller renaissance in terms of design and like higher end stuff. Yeah. I started doing like mass stroller demonstrations to 50, 60 people at a time, and it was nuts, and I developed this weird little following in the city, and I was there about 4.5 years. And during that time, they let me start to do registries. So I would do registries for people, like walk them around the store, go through all the bottles.
Like a baby concierge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go through all the bottles, go through all the breast pumps. And at that time, I really didn't know what I was talking about with breast pumps, and now I know much better.
Do I want to know how you know more?
Well,
about
I worked with IBCLCs, and I took a ton of breastfeeding classes myself because I nurse. But I was doing all these registries for people, and I was still doing theater when I needed a break from the store. So I'd leave town for like 3 or 4 months to go to a gig, and I would get messages from strangers in Facebook. And they were like, "You don't know us, but you helped our friends. They gave us your name. We thought you'd find you here. We need help with car seat strollers, carriers." So that was when I kind of realized something different was going on with my like survival gig. After 4.5 years there, I quit when they went corporate, and I went to work at a birth education center. And I was working with all these doulas and lactation consultants and all these really cool women. I was the only man employed there. Yeah. And it was just really cool. And what I loved about it was I came from this big box culture at this store, but here it was like, that really mattered,
right.
And it was like these women who would come in 2 days postpartum, crying and a mess, and like, my boobs don't work, I can't nurse. And I would like walk them to the back to an IBCLC. They'd sit and work, and 2 hours later they would come back and they were like, "I've got this." So to me, that's where, like, aside from the gear stuff, that's where a very different educational slant came in.
Sure.
So to be a part of the energy there and see an A-B transition, I was like, there's something to be done here, because parenting is so crazy overwhelming anyway, and you're tired as hell, and everything is a mess, and you're getting opinions from everyone on the planet. But I realized back when I worked at Bye Bye that I was like the little Southern gay friend that all these women wanted and didn't have,
We call them a fag hag here.
A fag hag, yeah, fag hag, exactly.
Right.
I didn't know what kind of words we could use on this. I realized the way I delivered information was very different than the way a mom who had 4 kids would.
Do you think that's why mums and brands are trusting you now?
Absolutely. Because I don't come from a biased standpoint of I have 3 kids and this is what I used and this is what you need because this is what works. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everything is lifestyle driven for the most part when it comes to product. I come from a very blank slate, and like my sisters have kids, all my friends have kids. I have I thoroughly test and vet products when I discuss them and recommend them. And even more important in terms of product, it's like a 50-50 split of, is the product good and is their corporate culture good?
Right.
Because there are brands that I will not touch because I don't find ethically they operate on the same field as I would in like my audience. And I've worked very, very, very hard to build up this community and the trust that I have, to throw that away with a brand that doesn't line up with the ideals that we have created, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So, look, I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities between America and Australia, and especially when you're having your first baby. I know with me, you buy literally everything in the shop. Yep. Apparently you need everything.
Everything. They give you a list. I mean, at Bye, we used to, during the Super Bowl, we used to have contests, of who could build the biggest registries. And it was across every store. And it was so gross to me because it's like this rampant consumerism that preys on parents. Yeah. But what was fascinating was, as a store, we had the highest price point in registries with the fewest items. Right. Because it's New York. So nobody has room, but they knew to invest in certain things that would last longer and cost more money, but you don't get all this clutter and all this crap.
So can you break it down for our mums? Because God knows you get thrown so many things that you apparently need. What would be your absolute must-haves as a new mum?
Number one, first and foremost, is a car seat. And more importantly with that, it's actually learning how to use it. I've noticed driving around here, there are actual stations that are car seat installation places you can go. Yeah. That's incredible. We do not have those in America.
It's interesting.
We got off on a tangent. Whatever.
Okay, so the car seat we know is
car
really
seat
important.
Is number one.
What else is our must-have?
A very good baby carrier. I'm a huge baby wearing advocate.
Okay, can I interrupt you for a second? My son hated the baby carrier. He would scream every time I put him in. I bought this one, and then I bought the swing version. I ended up with 3.
Some people just don't like it. Some babies just don't. You know, it's very rare for a baby to truly not like it. And that's why it's important.
What happened to me?
It's important to go to a store where you can really try them out. And it's like, I never tell people to register for them in the beginning because, you know, you go look at an Ergo or a Bjorn or the multitude of other carriers on the market. And when you're pregnant, you go in a store, you have this belly to contend with and nothing's going to fit you right. Yeah. So always start with a wrap or a ring sling. Okay. They're the easiest things to do. A lot of people get freaked out because it's just big strips of fabric, but there's a magical site that's called YouTube and you can go on and watch tons of videos. And then after, you know, a few months, you know, then go try carriers out and see like what fits your body better and what your kid likes. And, you know, you may go through 3 or 4.
Yeah. And I read that you're big on mattresses versus the cot. Why?
Because your baby is not sleeping on the wood. You know, a lot of people throw $3,000 into a crib without thinking. But it's the mattress that your kid in theory is sleeping on, hopefully sleeping. So you want to go as organic as you can with these mattresses. And I did not know about mattress construction until I started working in this space. And it's fascinating once you break down what the different layers are and what this padding is made of versus this, and why some use organic cotton versus natural latex and coconut coir. And coconut coir fascinates me. Do you know what that is?
I don't even know what that is.
It's the brown hair on the outside of a coconut.
And they put it in the mattress?
They put it in mattresses because it's the only fiber no one is allergic to.
Isn't that interesting? Okay.
Just a little bit of knowledge.
Okay, so we're on car seats, mattresses, baby carrier. What else?
A good stroller.
Okay.
You know, that will vary depending on where you live, if you're super urban or suburban or whatever. But get a really good stroller that pushes well. And strollers are worth investing in. I think a lot of people try to cheap out and get cheaper strollers. And it may work if you're a super baby wearer and you're doing whatever. But if you live in a city, we're going to be pushing your stroller around all day, every day, over and over and over. If you get a cheap stroller, it's just going to fall apart. And
that comes back to also the money versus the value in this market.
And that's the huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, value of a product can't usually solely be judged by how expensive it is. You know, because there are products on the market that are not expensive, that are awesome.
That's good? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I wanted to clarify because, you know, we as parents, you don't want to scrimp on your child, God forbid. No. And then, so you think, oh, well, if I buy the most expensive one, that's going to be the best there is.
And it's, you know, they kind of brought it up. I did Studio 10, you know, and they were talking about car seats and whatnot and how they bought this very expensive car seat. Yeah. Second kid, they got a cheaper one. That's actually fine. You know, all car seats have to meet minimum standards to be on the market. But what you are paying for in a more expensive car seat is ease of use and installation features. And that is what makes your car seat safer, is when it's used properly and installed correctly.
Right.
So, you know, to me, car seat will always be number one. That is your insurance policy. It is the only product on the market actually designed to save your kid's life.
What is, I guess, a gimmick product that you see a lot of mums falling for that's totally, in your educated opinion, completely unnecessary?
I think anybody who hears me talk will be very tired of hearing this, but it will always be a wipe warmer. Always.
Okay, I didn't buy one. However, I came this close to checking out because at night in winter, when it's cold, you would wake them up with a cold wipe.
That's life.
Okay.
When you're out like running around, your wipes are going to be cold.
So I didn't do it.
Yeah.
We pushed through.
Yeah, I think there are really nice wipe dispensers you can buy.
Okay.
Like if you want to get a different dispenser, but one that's like just to warm them up, and they dry them out sometimes and they suck. Like, do y'all have OXO over here? OXO?
I don't know.
OXO's this company in America, and they make this killer diaper wipe dispenser, and it's weighted. So you put all the wipes in, and like you have one hand on the baby, you slap the lid, and they pull out without having to hold the compartment down, you know?
That's good.
They're so
That's
good.
helpful.
That's
Okay.
a great product.
Okay.
You know, but like, oh, it's so nice and warm on my delicate snowflake's butt. Like,
I was just looking into it so as he wouldn't wake up when I was changing his nappy.
a lot of people use them if you make your own wipes. Like a lot of people who cloth diaper will make
doing
their own
that?
wipes.
Really?
A lot of people do.
Wow, okay.
And they're good for that because they store everything.
Okay. What else do you think we're falling for that we really should just be moving on?
I think it's tricky because, you know, like there are monitors on the market that monitor moving and do all this and this and this and this, and it's like a paranoia parent crutch product.
Yeah.
And I'm not into those at all.
Okay.
I think if there are certain medical situations where you really need that, great. But that's also why people recommend your kids sleep in the room with you for the first 6 months, because you're aware and your sleep cycles are different, and you know it stimulates respiratory, you know, and like bonding and everything to have the baby in the room with you.
Yeah.
And you don't sleep like a regular human.
No,
once
we
you
have
a kid.
instincts. The maternal instinct that
and
kicks
it's, you know,
in.
there's something to be said. If you are overtired or you're intoxicated, baby should not be near you. You know, baby goes in a crib.
Yeah.
But you know, with baby in a co-sleeping environment, moms get more sleep, especially if they're nursing. You
Yeah.
know, because they're not having to run down the hall and like latch on and deal with it and then come back to bed and try to go to sleep. If you have like a safe co-sleeping environment, baby's there, you got a nurse, you like, get it done, put the baby down, back to sleep. 3 hours later, you repeat. You know.
I would just like roll over.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, I wanted to ask you, because I know this is a big one with the mums in our group, the advice people get. The minute you're pregnant, everyone feels that you're a walking
They
audience
want to
for
give you
advice.
advice. They want to touch your belly.
Yeah.
I'm not into unsolicited belly touching.
Okay.
I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
Side note, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't touch strangers' bellies.
But I know with the advice, you know, a lot of it is often unsolicited. But sometimes somebody can give you a really good piece of advice as a new mum. What is the best piece of advice you've heard someone give?
There's a couple. Go with your gut. I think above all, go with your gut and pay attention to your kid. You're the expert on your own kid, not somebody you read about in a book. That's huge. Follow your baby's cues. But don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's a good one.
You know,
Yeah,
it
I think that's really
takes
important.
a definite village just to operate as a human, and to bring another little human in, you have to have other people.
Well, guys, if you want to follow Jamie, his handle is on screen now and his website is in our description. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more episodes. Thanks for watching.
Bye, y'all.